Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the Mezco Classic Dr. Strange. I'll be scoring this figure in 6 categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once the scores are all added up, I'll give you my opinion if it's a pass or purchase. The figure comes with a display stand, comes with a small bag so that you can store your Mezco accessories, comes with a Dr. Strange astral projection form, comes with 3 pair of hands, 2 fisted, which are on the figure. Also comes with 2 spell casting hands. See if I can get that a little bit clearer. Okay. Comes with 1 reaching hand, and it comes with a open palm hand. We also get a magic effect, sort of a yellowish green, came out very well. And we get the same effect, I believe it's the same effect. I'll take a look at it more closely a little bit later. It's actually different, so it's a different effect and a nice blue color. Kind of reminds me of the Marvel Legends effect pieces at the top. It's very similar, however this has way more detail. Comes with 2 Eye of Agamotto, 1 closed, the other is open, which is actually on the figure. I'll show that later. And it comes with a cape, which I will not count as a separate accessory. The cape does have bendy wire, however not in the back. In the back there is no wire. Figure also comes with a singular head scope. So for articulation, the head has great range of movement. It's able to look all the way up, all the way down. It could rotate 360. You get some excellent pivot, both sides. Next, let's start with the arms. The arms are perhaps the worst part of this figure. Originally, I thought the arms were on backwards. Yes, I thought they were on backwards. I thought I had a bad figure. I had to reach out to one of my friends that also has the figure and ask him if he was having issues with his, which he was. So it's simply just the way that it's made. I am not sure if the arms are able to extend beyond this point, but they are very stiff. And I don't want to break my figure, so I will not stretch it beyond this point. There's rotation at the shoulder, also very stiff. There's no upper bicep cut, which sucks. So the next area of movement would be right at the elbow. It's able to turn here. The fists are able to move up, down, as well as side to side. And the elbows are single jointed. That's about as much movement as you get right there. With the torso, there seems to be 2 separate pieces, starting and beginning right around here. So for the upper portion, you barely get any movement at all. Doesn't move back any, doesn't move forward any. No side to side movement. If you see the figure moving a little bit, that's because of the bottom. However, it is able to rotate. You can turn it to the left, you can turn it to the right. At the bottom is where you get the majority of the movement. It's able to crunch back that much. It's able to crunch forward that much. You get great side to side movement, and also it's able to twist. With the legs, you're able to do a full 360. I will not be doing it with mines. Sort of is the curse of fabric. So while the legs extend very far, way further than what you can see here, I will not be extending mine beyond this point. The legs are able to move forward as well. The knees are double jointed. The ankle articulation has improved, but it's still a bit weird. So for example, if you grab the boot at the rear or middle, you're able to pivot it on the inside. However, you're not able to pivot it to the outside. In order to move it effectively to both sides, you need to grab it at the front and twist. And it's sort of a upward twisting motion. It is certainly not perfect, but it is better than some of the figures that we've gotten from Mezco in the past. Also, the Eye of Agamotto, you're able to remove it simply by pulling here. This is the replacement part. One was open, this one is closed, and you're able to just tap it in. For accessories, I give this figure a 6 out of 10, and here's why. To the left is a Marvel Legends figure. This Mezco figure comes with roughly the same amount of accessories as a Marvel Legends. And in the past, Mezco has spoiled me with multiple head sculpts. Normally 2, if not 3 head sculpts in each package. So just to have one head sculpt for this figure, I feel that I was cheated out of a figure. Maybe cheated isn't the right word, but I think you understand what I mean. So for articulation, I give this figure a 6 out of 10, and here is why. The arms as well as the legs has very limited movement. And the fabric on the figure doesn't help the articulation as well. However, you are able to get the sorcerer in poses like this to where the legs are crossed, and this is why I gave this a 6 instead of a much lower score. For design, I give this a 9 out of 10. Early on, I passed on some of the Mezco early figures, the Punisher, the Daredevil. In my opinion, the flesh tones were always off. Even looking at the Wolverine figure that we had not too long ago, to me, the flesh tones were awful. On this particular figure, that is not the case. Like, the paint is done exceptionally well. The flesh tone, the eyes, the hair, it all looks phenomenal. The cape is also done very well. I assumed the part that clips around his neck would be Velcro. It's not. It's actually a magnet, which works much better. Normally with Mezco, in my opinion, I'm not a fan of a lot of their designs. The extra patterns that they put on a lot of their material, to me, is a bit too much. For this figure, I don't feel that that's the case. Even though I would have been fine if the pants were just black and did not have the different pattern. However, I'm very fine with it. I also like the sash that's around his waist. It looks very well. The gloves are painted exceptional. The stitching, which is usually an issue for Mezco as well, is really hidden here. And it doesn't bother me at all. So I think Mezco did a phenomenal job with the design of this figure. The wiring that's just in front, I thought that I would be a little bit upset that they did not put wiring in the back. However, it seems maybe that it works better without having the wiring in the back. The cape is able to drape up, you're able to lift it and get a lot of flexibility that you need with it. Is this essential to your collection? I give that a score of 5 out of 10, and here is why. This is not the only offering that we have for Dr. Strange. That's in the 6-inch line. SH Fig Arts has their version of Dr. Strange, which is cinematic. Marvel Legend also has several versions of Dr. Strange. Diamond Select has versions of Dr. Strange. Also, Mezco will be offering two versions of Doctor Strange itself. So if you miss out on this figure, you still have an opportunity to add a Doctor Strange to your lineup, whether it's from Mezco or a different company. For functionality, I give this an 8 out of 10, and here's why. It's more to this figure that I like than I dislike. Starting with this effect piece, I think that it's extraordinary to have it come along with this figure. I don't like that you have to clip it to the stand in order to use it. I really like the cape. The cape is done exceptionally. I'm not the biggest fan of cloth on 6-inch figures, mainly because the fabric finds itself getting in between the joints, and I'm always fearful that I may damage the fabric doing poses. With this figure, there's silver that's sticking outside of the collar, something that you see more often with 6-inch figures versus 12-inch figures because they're smaller. Last but not least is pricing. So I gave this figure a 6 out of 10. Priced at $80, by no means is this cheap for a 6-inch action figure. So there were 3 reasons, in my opinion, which brought the score down to a 6. The very first would be I wasn't blown away by the amount of accessories that came with this figure. 2 would be the one head sculpt that came with this figure. And the third reason would be the body that's used. Whatever body Mezco is using for this figure, they need to retire it. So that brings the overall score out of 60 to 40. So now on to, is this a pass or purchase? For me, it is a purchase. With all of the flaws for this figure, and there aren't many, the main flaws lie within the body itself. It's still the best Doctor Strange figure that we have. And in my opinion, it will remain the best Doctor Strange figure that we have for quite some time. So thank you for tuning in today, and I hope to see you next time.